Welcome to episode 39 of Enter the Mind podcast. Today's episode will be called Using Your Mind to Your Advantage. Before we get to that, Kyra, how's it going?
It is going amazing over on my end, just spectacular. How about you, Robert?
That's good to hear. Always optimistic and positive. Yeah, I'm doing well. As you know, last week I was sick with food poisoning of some kind, uh,
Yes.
which fortunately I got over in a couple days, as you usually do. Um, but it was a reminder of kind of how to use the mind as to your advantage, because I think in a lot of these episodes, we've done a great job of highlighting how the mind can go wrong in many ways. And and being true to the analogy of the mind being like a 5-year-old child. um, a 5-year-old child does misbehave and does need a lot of redirection constantly. It needs supervision. You can't just leave your 5-year-old alone in charge of big important things. You really need to monitor your child. But at the same time, there are moments when the child does listen and does what they're told and does clean their room and does follow what you say. And those times need to be acknowledged also. um, so the example there would be like when I was sick, doing constant mental reframes and thinking, um, pain is temporary, right? Um, I try to avoid taking like pain meds just to kind of see how much I can handle. And then you can also use the contrast principle. I think of, Navy SEALs and how they might be like, uh, off in a desert, like being shot at, with machine guns, and they might feel just as bad as I do with a headache and tired and sleep deprived. And yet they're in a survival situation, whereas I'm sitting on the couch. And that contrast makes me think like, oh, I guess I have it easy. And it makes it way easier to bear. So it's kind of like using the mind to kind of, to kind of push forward in life and to kind of bear those negative situations. Can you think of anything where you've used your mind to your advantage?
I definitely can. And I just wanted to point out, I love that you said it's like how the mind is kind of like a 5-year-old child. And sometimes the child goes running, but there are also times when the child does listen to you. And you said that you need to acknowledge those times too. And I think that that's really, really important. And I think that that's something that's snuck up behind my back. Well, I've been, bettering myself and doing personal development for the past 3 years. And I feel like it's really good to bring to your attention, or even like a physical child, like a real child, or your human mind and slash or instead of just always badgering yourself when you do something wrong, congratulate yourself when you do something right. Bring attention to both, because if you're only bringing attention to all the bad things that you do, that's literally like straight up going to be what you focus on. But if you allow yourself to congratulate yourself, I don't know, when you realize that you're like, oh wow, like my brain actually did really good there, like wow, like I'm so proud of me, I'm so proud of you, good job brain, to send those signals. So that's a good way to use your brain to the maximum as well. And then I have to chime in because I thought it was hilarious that uh, you said you didn't take any pain medication because you kind of just wanted to see how much you could endure. And I was like, that's hilarious. What are you hungry for pain? No, it's funny because I probably would have done the same thing. It just makes me laugh, that we put ourselves in situations like, oh, well, you know what? I'm not going to take these and just see how well I can do, even though it's painful as fuck. I'm just going to do it for the cause of the mind. But, so in a certain situation where I had to be, I guess, really, really resourceful with my mind. I think that I got COVID way back when, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know. I think that I got it because I was pretty ill. I really like I could barely move. I was just ill. And in those times, I was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I'm working on my body. And you're telling me that I gotta stay out like of working out for 7 fucking days, an entire week. I'm not even gonna have my abs by then, right? So I really just had to talk myself into like everything is gonna be okay. Cause like at that point, I used my mind as a resource to make sure that I didn't lose my mind during this time where I couldn't work out. I had to remind myself that, Kyra, there's going to be tons of times throughout your life where you might not be able to work out. Maybe you get glass in your foot and you can't work out for 3 days. Maybe you break your arm, you can't work out. Maybe this, maybe that. There are going to be times when you can't exercise or work out. And that's really what I just had to keep telling myself during that time. So yeah, that's how I used my brain in regards to this situation, this sort of technique.
Yeah, totally. Once you take like a larger perspective, then you realize like, oh, this is just temporary. Like, I can go a week without working out or something, if you expand your consciousness.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in regards to the not taking pain medication, it's yeah, I think it's kind of funny. But I see it as like I mean, it's really seeing how far the mind. It's really seeing how far the mind can go and how strong the mind is, because it's like going to the gym and going for a new a PR, like a new trying to see if you can lift more on your bench press, your max bench press. You're trying to see like, okay, how fit is my mind? How disciplined is it? When my body is in so much pain, can I still remain calm? So
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of where I was coming from with that. And then the last thing I'll share is another example that came to mind is when you talked about like acknowledging the good times or when your mind does well for you. Um, I feel like there's times where, just like when a dog or here I am comparing a 5-year-old child to a dog, go figure. But the mind is also like a dog in many ways. You can think of it like that. So when the mind does what you want it to do, just like when a dog, does what you want it to do, or a 5-year-old child does, you reward it. So you kind of pat it on the back, you say, oh, good job, like that was very good. And so one situation where I did that was at work, because the internet has been going out recently. And it's, as you can imagine, it's very tempting for people to get all up in arms about it and upset, and oh, come on, I can't get anything done, and it went out again, and what's up with those internet providers, and they're dropping the ball, and just immediately sinking into low vibration thinking. And I remember sitting there while this was happening, and I was able to remain very zen and remain very grounded, and also and keep my positive success mindset of like, okay, if internet's out, what can I do instead? What projects can I get done without the internet? Or what can I use my phone as a hotspot to replace the internet? Like, just thinking in possibility thinking, and also not just not being upset, keeping a high vibration. And I remember when I was able to keep that high vibration, I was so proud of my mind, and I metaphorically speaking, I really patted my mind on the back and said, good boy, good boy.
I love that. And it's such a good feeling too when you're able to really control your mind and be like, wow, like honestly, that wasn't as hard as I thought. And the more that you practice it, the better acquainted you get with it. And then the more that you focus on how well your mind is doing, the more you bring that into your frequency. So I love the fact that we're discussing, how to optimize the human mind. Because by like through mental strength, like through kind of going through those tests of the mind. And for my last thing, I'll say I had my first ecstatic dance class last week or something like that. And I remember I went to the guy who's the venue that I was using, and he was a friend of my friend. And, you know, I come and I tell him that I want to host this ecstatic dance. And the first thing he said to me, because I was going to charge $5 or $10, and he was like, $5 or $10, first of all, you don't ever charge $5 for anything. Right. So that was the first thing he told me. Right. So I was like, oh God, come on, mind. We can handle this. We can handle this. He's being nice. He's helping. So then he tells me like, how many people do I know? And I told him I legit know about 3 people. 3 people, right? So that was the second thing. Still trying to keep my mind on board with this. I'm like, I really want to do this. I'm just going to do it, right? Then I show him my artwork for the poster, and he tells me it's ugly and that it's absolutely not enticing. And I'm like, wow. All right, Kyra. Okay. And I remember his energy that he gave me for my event. I've never felt so excited, happy. Oh my God. Like, I loved it. He was chewing my ass out for sure, chewing my ass out. But my goal was not to take it personally. And my goal was to take as much from him, like give what he is feeding to me, take what he is throwing at me right now, and, do it to the best that I can. So turns out, 2 people showed up at my ecstatic dance, but even though 2 people showed up at my ecstatic dance, I kept my mind clear and focused the entire time when he was chewing me in, and to all the way down to the time of the event. And that was a time that I really, really, really needed that mental boost. So, after that, I gave myself a really big metaphysical pat on the mind. And it was really, really exciting. So I think that the very, very last thing that I'll say is, challenge your mind. Like, challenge your fucking mind, bro. Like, just because say you text somebody, hey, with a kissy face, and they text you back, hey, without a kissy face, you know what? He's probably busy. I do that like all the time. Like, if I'm texting a friend back and they put hell emojis and I don't have time, I won't put emojis. And then, like, next thing you know, our immediate response is, oh, they're coming at me. Oh, I'm going to take this personal, or this, that. But if you challenge your mind to think in a different way, it's so free, so enlightening, and so good at manifesting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, those are great examples. It's so hard to not get defensive when people give you like unsolicited feedback like that. So cheers to you for persisting and still hosting that event. And yep, I know we're short on time today. So last thing I'll say on my end is, it's here in downtown. I see a lot of people walking their dogs, and it's so funny to watch how the dogs interact, because some are more behaved than others. And you could have 2 dog walkers, and then one dog goes absolutely bonkers and starts barking up a storm, and the owner's like struggling to control it. And then the other dog could be very well behaved and just kind of standing there poised, and the owner is like, nope, stay, good, like don't do anything, right? And I think that's a perfect metaphor for the mind, and how if you let your mind out of control, then that's kind of what happens. But if you're very disciplined with your mind, then a lot is possible. So all right, well, let's close out and say, if anybody has topics for future episodes, drop those in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you all in next week's episode.
Thank you.